You're listening to a production of the National Media Archive. To learn more or volunteer, go to nationalmediaarchive.com.
Foreign. Despite the fact that our first months of life were actually spent swimming in urine, the amniotic sac is made up of 80% urine from the fetus. On average, the fetus releases 2 glasses of pee per day. During our lives, each of us will have produced 38,000 litres of urine, the equivalent of a large tanker truck. Despite the importance of this matter, urine remains taboo today. We will go beyond this prohibition, release the cork, and take a wee look at our pee that is more valuable than once thought. In medicine for healing, technology as a source of energy, raw material and industrial fertilizer, the opportunities of our noble liquid are now the object of many patents. Despite the gradual success of urine filming, it could still create somewhat of a scandal. To satisfy our interests without disgust, whenever possible we will be using thermal imaging, microscopic and high-speed cameras. This is the story of urine's superpowers. There is a large difference between men and women. In men, the pipes tend to block up. In women, they leak. Urinary incontinence in women concerns so many young and elderly women. It's a taboo subject and most patients have difficulty speaking about it. This incontinence creates anxiety in daily life. Many women need to check how long it takes to get anywhere, basically needing to pee every half hour. The bladder is often a mirror of the soul. If anxiety sets in, then it may be expressed through bladder problems. So how does our urinary system work? The blood is cleaned by the 2 kidneys that are the body's filters. Urine is evacuated through these 2 pipes that are called ureters. The urine is then stocked in the bladder, and when it becomes full, there will be a swelling that sends an order to the brain to urinate. What is urine as a matter of fact? It is a sterile liquid, 95% water, 5% waste. Urea, creatinine, sodium, potassium, chlorine, magnesium. According to most medical reference books, roughly 100 chemical substances have been found in urine. The same number is found in the famous Chanel No. 5 perfume. But only recently have we obtained the true perfume of urine. It contains no less than 3,000 chemical substances. This opens new perspectives when we know that only 10 elements are needed to reveal pregnancy. In the near future, this discovery could revolutionize medical tests and complete or replace blood tests. One of the problems is that when people urinate in a hospital, they may be inhibited and their urine flow rate is not perhaps normal. The urologist wanted a device that could measure flow rate in the home environment. The stakes are high for Western countries where prostate cancer affects 1 man in 4. The innovation came when Martin Knight was at home one day and was going to the toilet. He noticed that as he was weeing, the shape of his urine stream changed as the flow rate changed. You get this very characteristic wavy pattern, and the shape of that wavy pattern was changing during the voiding. They thought perhaps they could understand the bioengineering, the biophysics behind that shape, and use measurement of that shape as a way of measuring urine flow rate and therefore as a diagnostic parameter. Finding it difficult to study the urine as it gushes into the loo, Martin has perfected a flow model. Here you can see the beautiful pattern of the flow shape as it comes out of that elliptical orifice, which is the same as the urethra at the end of the penis. They're measuring that distance to that first sort of pinch point there. You can also see on this one that as the flow rate reduces, then this pattern changes and gets shorter. Observed under a high-speed camera at 2,000 images per second, a urine flow problem is similar to a wave of droplets and not a continuous stream. What is the ideal measure for a healthy man? It does depend on how much the urethra opens, but roughly if it's sort of 3 to 5 centimeters in length, then that's a typical normal flow rate for around 20 milliliters per second. For Martin Knight, nothing is better than a field test. Participants are asked to urinate normally and estimate the distance of a strange pattern in their urine flow, which is perfectly normal. They measure that distance with a ruler, looking for the biggest distance. Martin Knight would like to have a credit card that people could use for awareness of prostate enlargement, awareness of prostate cancer. When you go to the toilet, you can just hold your credit card down and say, "Oh yes, that's 3 centimeters, I'm okay." This incredibly simple test could prevent a number of prostate cancers. But our wee-wee conceals many more surprises. One of the amazing things about urine is that it gives you perhaps a chemical fingerprint of a person. Different people will have very slightly different composition to their urine, and so you're able to tell whose urine is which. It's very interesting that we all have very slightly different urine composition. A personalized urine fingerprint. Specialized detectives could use these techniques to track down criminals in the future. Until that day, the police already use urine to reveal pollutants at crime scenes. Martin Knight's dream in the future is that people are more aware of the urine and the urine shape that they produce when they void. If they were able to tell them what a normal shape is, or they see that their urine is changing in any way, then they go and see their doctor. Unfortunately, some of us will not be able to keep an eye on our urine flow. They have what is called paruresis, or the shy bladder syndrome. We define shy bladder as being the difficulty or impossibility of peeing around other people. You're afraid that other people are going to see you, are going to hear you, or are waiting for you. The key issues are being afraid of people seeing you go to the bathroom. If someone thinks other people are watching them, then they'll have a great deal of difficulty going. The other problem is if people are waiting for you. It shuts you down as well, and you are unable to pee around other people. This is also the case of Brad, who suffers from shy bladder since childhood. In a way, it's somewhat like being a little confused or unable to think. You don't have any control over the lower part of your body. You can control your legs, of course, but you just stand there and nothing wants to happen. You're just froze up inside. Brad has consulted for shy bladder over many years. Since he started drinking more water, his bladder seems to trigger more easily. Brad uses a catheter on occasion, but doesn't have to use it. If he has a problem in the restroom, he just decides to go drink more water and be able to go in another 30 minutes. Life with shy bladder can be hell. Someone could put a gun to your head and say pee or die, and it's not clear what would happen in that situation. It can create problems at the workplace, and it can also affect your relationships with other people. You can start getting anxious about whether or not you're going to be able to find a public bathroom that you can use. We estimate that in the United States, about 7% of the population is bladder shy. In Germany, it seems to be around 1 to 2%. In France, about 5%. And in the Scandinavian countries, about 10%. Men and women are equally affected. The big difference, of course, is that women have much more privacy in general in the public restrooms than men do. In Japan, it's very interesting they've developed musical toilets for women in order to mask the sound. This is the only way that some women are able to go to the toilet at home. The perfect toilet design would have dividers that go all the way down to the floor and all the way up, and then it would be ideal. The way we pee can teach us much about ourselves, but quality of our urine is also the mirror of our state of health. This is not relatively new. Right from earliest times, the Egyptians were using it to diagnose pregnancy, for instance. All the way through history, urine has been inspected for disease. You can look at it and judge its consistency, its color. You can smell it. Some people have even tasted it. If urine has often played a key role in identifying disease, some practitioners have quickly taken our golden liquid for a state-of-the-art remedy. Urine therapy was born. The enthusiasts of this method recommend drinking one's own pee in order to stay in good health. This advice has been widely followed. There are currently millions of people in the world who drink their own urine. There's a long tradition of people drinking urine. It's been considered down through the ages a stimulant to good health. Whether it is or not is something that you have to depend on anecdotal evidence to decide. If you ask any of the millions of people who drink it, they will probably say it works. It cannot be proved that it works, but lots of people do it. The best part of urine therapy could be the intermediate flow between the first jet and the last drop. Practitioners claim that when they had a little headache and took their urine, after 7 minutes the headache was gone. They report that after eye surgery, when it was infected, they put 2 drops under their tongue and it really worked. Stories include daughters who were asthmatic since age 12, and urine was used many times when she had asthma attacks, helping greatly and stopping the attack. Martin Lara is an ordinary consumer who has been actively promoting urine therapy for over 20 years. He drinks a glass of urine every morning because of all the benefits that he knows his body will derive from ingesting this fluid. To start with, he always suggests to people that they can take 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons in 10 ounces of water or 10 ounces of juice, and start working on the psychological blockage that people have. Once they realize that this is not going to kill you, then they become a little more open-minded. Then they have no problem improving their health by using urine as a tool to help them monitor and help them compensate. In the event of an infection, it'll help them develop immunity. One of the greatest secrets of the beautiful women in the world is that they take a towel soaked in urine in Europe and put it on their faces. They leave it there for 20 minutes and then take a regular shower that opens up the pores and penetrates the 7 layers of skin that we have. It just cleans up everything. It regenerates and brings life back to the skin. According to Martin, even peeing on oneself is valuable, and humankind is apparently not the only animal to benefit from the healing properties of urine. There are monkeys that drink their urine all the time because this is genetically implanted as a survival tool, a natural therapy so ancient that some animals perform it instinctively. Of course, some New Yorkers have their doubts on this approach, but Martin Lara is totally convinced and uses his books to prove the skeptics wrong. He doesn't hesitate to stop people in the street to convert them to urine therapy. When you wake up in the middle of the night with a tooth abscess, he has a formula there that takes away your pain. You have to use a homeopathic preparation using urine. Why does it look so strong and pungent at times? Because you're dehydrated. First thing you need to know is you need to hydrate properly in order for it to be pleasant. Most people do not have urine that is pleasant because most people are chronically dehydrated. They force the body to squeeze moisture out of the stuff in the colon, so they're going to have urine that tastes horrible. If it smells bad, if it looks bad, then you have to drink more water. Our blockage is essentially a cultural one. In certain cultures, they actually promote husband and wives exchanging the urine because it's a way of balancing the yin and yang. In China, urine has a wide array of therapies. The pee from young children and babies is particularly sought after. From their youngest age, everything is done to enable toddlers to take a leak freely. You can even order urine from young boys on the internet. Such fluids can cost up to several €100 per glass. Those who don't like to drink it are free to eat hard-boiled eggs. In the city of Dongyang, near Shanghai, the pee of school children is used for boiling eggs. They take the bus several times a day to retrieve the gold liquid. This bucket contains 75 litres of urine, and they can cook 2 large saucepans of eggs. Eggs cooked in urine are believed to have many virtues. These eggs protect us from the summer heat wave and avoid insolation. He who has body injuries can eat them too. Their ancestors taught them to use boys' urine, not that of adults, which is bad. He who likes this can accept the taste. It's a little salty, definitely taste of urine. If you believe, you feel nothing. If you don't believe, you don't like eating them. The eggs cooked in school children's urine are a local Chinese delicacy served in springtime. What is the opinion of this Western-educated doctor from Dongyang? From the point of view of Western medicine, it could help kill the microbacteria of tuberculosis and increase microcirculation. Not everybody is able to eat these eggs cooked in urine. People who have a problem with the taste, aches and pains in the joints, and those with a high level of uric acid should not eat them. The village is well known in China for its centenarian pee drinkers. Most of these smiling octogenarians are urine drinkers. In China, 10 million people drink their own pee every morning. Why do people live so long in their village? Around 30% of them drink urine. They drink urine once in the morning and once in the evening. The principal interest of urine for longevity is that there is urokinase in pee that can soften the blood vessels and increase blood circulation. This old man is called Wang Dongcheng. He is over 80 and still travels 30 kilometers by bicycle to deliver his vegetables. Is drinking pee good for our health? The debate remains. Sipped in small quantities, urine is not prone to be harmful for most people, but it seems difficult to swallow that this could be the universal remedy to all our flaws. The few unabashed scientists who plunge into pee occasionally make exceptional discoveries. Professor Pei and Dr. Pan belong to the Honorable Chinese Academy of Sciences. They have published and patented an original and revolutionary way of creating new cells, stem cells from human urine. Whether urine has hidden superpower, that's a subject, of course, to many debate. But in their case, they knew urine gave them healthy cells, which can be used to generate high-quality neuronal stem cells, as well as many other stem cells in the future. To them, that is kind of magic. When we pee, many cells are released through the kidney and leave the body. Every day, almost 7,000 cells are naturally evacuated without harm and are fully functional. These cells are then reprogrammed to become undifferentiated and will take the form of stem cells. These stem cells are then placed into culture with the feeding cells. Here they can multiply infinitely. They will then become a cell of blood, bone, skin, liver, neurons. In the future, these new differentiated cells could be transplanted or frozen for future use in order to replace our ailing cells. Until today, science used cells from the embryo in order to create stem cells, but this method has raised important ethical questions. The cells in our urine open a new horizon. Though they are genetically more complicated to manipulate than embryonic cells, this discovery is a great step forward for humanity. In their research on stem cells, their database will enable the production of stem cells of great quality. This most promising research is performed in a P3-level high-security laboratory. At this point, they have now moved to the clinical testing phase. They should be able to generate the cells needed for repair. In the future, the cells they extract from urine can be turned into other stem cell types. Those, for instance, can give rise to your liver, maybe even give rise to kidney itself again. For Alzheimer's diseases, they want to be able to make stem cells which can be transplanted into the brain, which can repopulate the aging neurons in the patient, and then eventually restore function. The first laboratory tests of reproducing neuronal stem cells are encouraging. Transplanted into the brains of newborn rats, they have not created a tumor. In the future, it will probably be recommended to place a pee sample in a specialized urine bank in order to convert them into neurons at a later date. They collect individuals during the age of, say, 20, and they can bank that, store in their facility. At the age of 80, that means 60 years later, that urine-turned neuron can still be used for that particular person and his offsprings. Could urine be the elixir of immortality our ancestors have long been seeking? Is this the key in the battle against the degeneration of our brains? Whether urine can give rise to immortality will be a very interesting question to ask in the future. From their perspective, certainly urine can give rise to very good cells for them to generate many different types of stem cells. Those stem cells can be used for therapeutic purposes and in that sense can save people's life and can probably even help people live longer and healthier. Urine is packed with assets and surprises. Life is full of surprises for many of us in science. Obviously, science is also full of surprises. When they first discovered cells are alive in urine, they actually took advantage of this finding, and they could turn those urine cells into neural stem cells. That was a very big surprise and a very pleasant one as well. Doctor Musa Shaker is also thrilled about the future medical applications of urine. This doctor is a strong advocate, and he's the one who shipped camel urine for investigation here in the United States. When he heard the story about the potential of camel urine in cancer therapy, he was very skeptical and never believed it. He would never even drink it, of course. He's engaged in science for over 25 years in drug discovery, drug development, with over 250 United States and international patents. So he started investigating it with questions, a lot of questions in mind. He thinks there is a lot to be discovered by going back to nature. Biological fluid from an animal that lives in the desert has the strongest immune system of all kind of animals, resistant to any infection. It can survive in the desert without drinking for over 40 days, 45 days. After investigating it for the past 2 years and examining its effects in a variety of human cancer types, they found that indeed there is something in the camel urine. Regardless of the food they eat, it is independent of the plant. But where do these molecules come from? What they found is that this molecule started from a bigger molecule that exists in the lining of the blood vessels within the camel organs, and they continuously reduce this active metabolite in a regular fashion. They found the drug fractions within the camel urine that has a very potent effect on stopping the cancer cell making blood vessels, and hence you can starve the tumor to death. You stop the process of abnormal angiogenesis. Camel pee could become part of the therapeutic arsenal against cancer. But that's not all. Urine can be kept at room temperature for an extended period of time, and it can be kept in the refrigerator for years without any contamination. No bacteria. Nothing can grow in it, because one of the key aspects within the camel urine is anti-proliferative, anti-infective, antibacterial, anti-cancer compounds that stop anything to grow in it. Thus, camel urine will also enable doctors to heal many diseases like bacterial skin infections. But the pee remedy remains to be accepted by the patients. The goal is to develop it in an acceptable pharmaceutical form that can be used by everyone, because too many people will not drink camel urine. This is probably just a question of time, because urine-based medicine is already largely present and sometimes disguised in our home pharmacy cupboards. Urokinase is a drug that dissolves blood clots and is currently made from urine proteins. Premarin is a drug used in treating menopause. Today's production levels require the daily pee of 75,000 mares in foal. Urine is also used in homeopathy. Various sleeping pills, cosmetics, shampoos, or lipsticks contain derivatives of urine like urea. But who'd have guessed that urine is also indirectly present in our food? Plants need nitrogen to help them grow. Urine is rich in nitrogen. Human beings are rich in urine. So isn't it about time we found a more intelligent way of using urine? China has rediscovered the powers of nitrogen and phosphorus contained in urine. This is a very useful stone at home. You see, your parents plant vegetables and fruit trees and they use a fertilizer called phosphorus. Plants need the phosphorus to grow fruits and vegetables. To feed the planet, phosphorus rocks are depleting, and the only way in near future is to recycle the phosphorus in our urine. To be able to use this precious liquid as a fertilizer, it must not have been contaminated by our excrements or diluted by the water flush. In a world where millions of humans do not have access to modern toilets, an idea emerged to design a new toilet where pure pee can be collected and recycled. Children look at this seat. The poop goes in the big hole and the pee in the little hole. Come untouched. In theory, the boys should feel less concerned because they can pee in the urinals, but they do seem more interested than the schoolgirls. They must collect every drop of urine so that future generations can eat. So do not forget when you go to the toilet. Poop in the big hole and pee in the little one. Scott doesn't miss any opportunity to incite the school children to use his new ecological toilets properly. And what better argument than to show them some of his beautiful apples made with urine? The biggest problem with urine today is that we use a flush toilet. We are using too much water. We are polluting too much water. We are wasting nutrients like phosphorus, which is quite valuable and rare in the world. So that's a big problem of the urine mixed with water. To illustrate their motivation, Scott and the school children have written an ode to cleanliness. From Confucius, nothing is lost, everything is transformed. Having collected a full tank of pee, Scott is off to his orchard. There are some nutrients inside the urine like phosphorus, nitrogen and potassium. Usually 80% of the nutrients of the human beings are in urine. In 6 months' time, this beautiful flower will give them juicy apples. With chemical fertilizers, you can get long apples, but with pure urine, you can get rounder apples like this, sweet and juicy. People are looking back to have organic food without any chemicals, but with urine. So these apples become some kind of luxury farming products for the consumers. Orders are flowing in, but few schools are equipped with the new ecological toilets. In this establishment, Scott will only be able to collect boys' pee. They collected urine from 600 students in this school only, and they produce 300 litres of urine every day. In their program, they have over 30 schools totally. They could use it as fertilizers for over 1,000 apple trees. Behind them are the best students of the year. They have respected many virtues, one of which is to be clean in a toilet, to make sure every drop of urine ended up in the tank. Every drop must go into the urinary. Every drop must go into the urinary. Scott is becoming a celebrity. He has succeeded in transforming pea juice into apple juice in respect of his ecological vision for the future. Next priority is the factory effect. If he could collect a huge amount of urine from a factory with like 20,000 workers, he can grow a lot of vegetables and some fruit for the local people. Back in Europe, traces of hormones can be found in our urine and in that of farm animals. This does not encourage the spreading of pee in our fields. Current research is trying to solve this problem. Jess Thompson, an entrepreneur in Denmark, has new ideas about recycling the abundant and polluting urine from pig farms. One pig gives you average 3 litres of urine per day, and if you have a sum of 10,000 pigs, it would give you 30,000 litres of urine per day. 3 to 4% of that is urea, which they can sell, or the farmer can sell to the industry. Many products contain urea. Industrial products, it's all the way from production of a certain type of plastic going to paint, glue, wood production. The list is huge. Jess often visits Danish farms to check up on his urea collecting installations. Normally, when you get into a pig barn, you will actually stop breathing because the smell is so strong you can't breathe. This is ammonia. Here they separate the two fractions, the solid and the liquid, and they are transforming the urea into ammonia. It's a lot better for the animal. The filtration process takes place inside these containers. They have basically 4 steps, and what it is filtering, which are getting finer and finer and finer in the filtration. The final one is a nano filter. The urea molecule is very, very big, so it's very easy to split from all other kind of stuff. So after the nanofilter, they actually have a liquid containing the urine. Following evaporation, the urea will become a compact powder that will then be sold on the market. Hidden deep inside urine is a form of energy. Today is one more of those days in which they're going to continue changing the world by utilizing energy from waste. Today we flush literally the problem to somebody else. What they are doing is going to end in recovering that energy from the waste and producing energy that could be used for powering houses, for powering vehicles. In the future, if Peter gas sensors were installed in the urinals, data captured would be sent to a tablet. An app turned milliliters into kilometers based on the real consumption of the car. A small amount of pee, an incredible long ride. But just how does our golden liquid turn into a green source of energy? The process that they have developed to extract hydrogen from urine is a very simple process. Everybody has a battery in a car. Imagine 2 plates, and in one plate, they are basically oxidizing the urea into nitrogen and carbon dioxide. This is carbon that is already contained in urea. So this is biological carbon. On the other side, they're producing hydrogen. They have developed materials that allow that reaction to take place. But does this method work? You just need to try it. Surprisingly, the results are optimistic. A human being can only carry a certain amount of urea, so for example, the amount that is contained is not sufficient to run a car roughly 5 meters in 20 seconds. But how much urine would it take to move a full-scale car? To provide fuel for a car, you need 5 kilograms of hydrogen. And with 5 kilograms of hydrogen, that car could go 300 miles. In order to provide 5 kilograms of hydrogen, you need 1,250 people's urine in one day. Automobile manufacturers are already testing the first cars to run on hydrogen in Germany and in the United States. A small network of hydrogen refueling stations has been set up. However, most of the hydrogen that we use today is produced from petrol. Hydrogen is the cleanest fuel in the world because when you oxidize hydrogen, or the combustion of hydrogen, only produces water. What is the future of hydrogen coming out of urine in terms of power or vehicle or for houses? The future really has to do with doing a centralized facility. In the future, urine washing machines will clean urine and produce hydrogen. A prototype has already been put together called the green box. In this tank here, urine is added because it could be your urine, my urine, the urine of an animal. What they do with the urine is they pass it through their machine, the green box, and the green box transforms the urine and makes it hydrogen, which you can see is coming out of here as hydrogen bubbles. They're harvesting that and making electricity. This machine produces 50 watts and at the same time provides a bucket of clean water, avoiding the cost of waste treatment plants that consume vast amounts of energy. As an example, the wastewater treatment facility in Washington District of Columbia consumes energy equivalent to what is being used in 2,000 houses just by removing ammonia and urea. With their process, they can reduce that to 50%. So that means only equivalent to 1,000 houses. On top of that, because of the hydrogen that is produced through the process, you could also provide electricity to 500. So what that means is from 2,000 houses, they decreased it by 75%. A urine recycling system is being installed at the full-size waste treatment plant in Athens, Georgia. The green box is going to be located where they're going to be treating the ammonia of the urine through the machine. In this case, coming out of this tank, one of these tanks, they get ammonia, clean it, and make the hydrogen. The green box, able to produce hydrogen and clean water, it's one small pea drop for Geraldine, but a giant recycled drop for humanity. At the University of Ohio, there is no lack of ideas, nor of urine. The beauty about this technology, there are applications everywhere here on Earth or even out in space. When you think about life requirements out in space, you think that you're going to have energy and you're going to have water. So by urine, you are basically providing the water and some of the energy you need. So this technology has applications in outer space as well. In urine, there are superpowers which we could use for the future to drive our cars and to lift off rockets. Mike Jetten is a professor of microbiology at the Institute for Water and Wetland Research in the Netherlands. He discovered a bacteria that is capable of transforming urine into fuel for rockets. A very unique bacteria. They are the only ones who can unlock the energy in urine, converted into hydrazine. The energy in hydrazine looks very much like hydrogen. Having gobbled up the ammonium and ammonia, the anamox bacteria then produce a combustible known as hydrazine. The scientists have isolated the protein that produces hydrazine fuel. Under the electron microscope, they study its tiny sequence. Here you see, surrounded by the cell wall, and inside the anamox cell, you see the organelle where all the enzymes are that can convert urine into the rocket fuel hydrazine. They take a lot of energy to launch a rocket. The entire population of the Netherlands, roughly 20 million people, need to pee for a whole day. They have to collect the pee of all those people, and with the energy in that, they could lift off a rocket. If Mike Jetten already has his head in the stars, he is not a dreamer. He has been awarded the prestigious Royal Order of the Netherlands Lion. They have identified the enzymes, they know the genes involved, but it will take 5 to 10 years to unlock the energy with these bacteria and with these enzymes. Urine has a promising future. Industrial applications of tomorrow's world include medicine, health checks, fertilizers, batteries, plastics. There seems to be no limit to practical usages of urine. There is not enough urine in the planet to run the whole energy needs of the planet. However, it will be an important contribution, so it will be part of that green energy portfolio. In a world where natural resources are in ever shorter supply, where we're having to look for alternatives, we will inevitably turn more and more to urine. It will become at the cutting edge of green technology, right through to the future. The next time you flush your pee, think twice. It might be worth more than you think.